Hello there, folks. My name is Spoonks, and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, making $5.4 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $28 million and a worldwide total of $34 million. So the movie took a big hit this weekend. It fell 75% from last weekend. That is not good. That is definitely not what you want to see, but it was also rather expected since this is a concert film still, so there was the possibility of this being largely front-loaded. But yeah, I think it's safe to say this will not be as big of a hit as the Taylor Swift concert film. There just was a much more bigger presence towards that movie, a lot more awareness, I think, and a lot more hype around it. This just seems like, oh, it's a Beyonce concert movie. That's interesting. That's nice. Still, given that it's a concert film, I can't imagine this was too expensive to make, so there's a possibility that this is already a massive hit. I'm unaware of the budget for this film, but I once again, I can't imagine that it was that expensive. But yeah, still, this is still a largely bit disappointing turnout for the film this weekend. I think they were hoping that maybe this would be a little bit less than the Taylor Swift film, but still a lot bigger than what people expected. But unfortunately, I just don't think that's the case here. And with all the big movies coming out this holiday season, I don't think this is going to be in the top 5 for much longer. So yeah, even though it's a concert film and it's probably a much bigger hit than a lot of people think it is, this is still a pretty disappointing turnout. Not the best second weekend for Renaissance. Number 4 was Trolls Band Together, making $6 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $82 million and a worldwide total of $173 million. So Trolls is still continuing to head on the right path. It only dropped 22% from last weekend, which is very impressive, especially for an animated film that's been out for over a month with another animated film that came out so soon after it. It's obvious that this is the big animated movie of the moment. I do think this is going to be able to just barely, and I mean barely, get over the $100 million milestone domestically, or if anything, at least get close to that milestone given the competition on the horizon. And I do think it will be able to surpass the doubling point worldwide. It's just not going to be mentioned in the top 5 as, once again, the competition on the horizon. There's a new family movie coming out this week and a new animated movie coming out next week, so that's definitely gonna cause some problems for this movie for sure. But again, this movie has already done so well. It's already making a lot of money. Despite, making less than the first one, I still consider this a pretty solid hit overall. It shows that people still like the Trolls franchise for it to be making this much money. And like I said, it's the one animated movie that's been doing very well right now. Families want to go see this movie, clearly. So yes, another solid weekend for Trolls Band Together. Gonna be an interesting couple weeks for this movie within the coming weeks for sure. I am very curious to see if it'll be able to hold well, although I'm not expecting much from that end. But yeah, still a pretty solid hit overall. It should be able to double that budget worldwide very soon. Number 3 was Godzilla Minus One, making $8.5 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $25 million and a worldwide total of $48 million. So it appears that the studio did have a change of heart, I guess it was a Christmas miracle, and graciously extended the film's theatrical run. I am unaware for how long though, but given how well it's been doing, I think it's gonna be here for a while, as the film, like Trolls Band Together, had a very solid hold this weekend, just falling 25%, which is exceptional for a limited release in its second weekend. Usually these types of things are very front-loaded, so you'd expect them to plummet after this, kind of like what happened with Renaissance. But this movie just tapped into something that is rather unexpected. It's been generating a lot of positive word of mouth, and a lot of people have been going out to see it. It's a combination of that, and also I think a lot of people's love for Godzilla the character. Everyone just loves this giant monster and wants to see them tearing down cities and stuff like that, and add on to the fact that the movie is supposedly very good. And because of this, Even though apparently the $15 million budget was inaccurate, according to the director in an interview recently, this film is still making a lot of money. It's about to surpass the $50 million milestone worldwide, and I think it's even got a shot at surpassing that domestically. Granted, there's a lot of competition on the horizons for the holidays, so it'll be interesting to see how this movie stacks up against those films, but I can still see this movie maintaining its core audience and making the type of money it needs to get it to that milestone. So yeah, Godzilla Minus One is proving to be a pretty solid sleeper hit right now. Again, I'm unaware for how long this will be in theaters for, so that's a big factor, and how it will stack up against the big competition in the coming weeks. But as for right now, yeah, this is definitely the big sleeper hit right now at the box office that I think movie theaters really need right now. So yeah, good job, Godzilla. Number 2 was The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, making $9.2 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $135 million and a worldwide total of $266 million. The Hunger Games continues to be the biggest hit of the moment right now. I think it's very likely that it will surpass the $150 million milestone domestically and the $300 million milestone worldwide. It seems like out of all the big blockbusters in theaters right now, this is probably the one that'll probably be able to carry itself out through Christmas, given how strong it's been holding and how much people have been liking it and going to see it. It's been holding very well. It's made the most money out of any of the blockbusters, limited release or not. And like I said, the hype and the word of mouth has just been so strong on it. People just can't get enough of this. Despite this, I'm not sure if it's going to crack the top 10 of the year. The bar to get into that list is still very, very high, and it's so close yet so far. So that's definitely going to be something interesting to keep note of as far as this movie. But yeah, once again, it's not like it really matters. The movie is just the biggest blockbuster of the moment right now. It's also one of the most successful ones, given the $100 million milestone, and it's about to surpass $300 million worldwide, and that's a pretty good profitability for this movie. Word of mouth has been strong. It's been holding like a champ. And once again, I think this is probably the only big blockbuster right now that's going to be able to carry itself throughout Christmas at the very least. So yeah, once again, another solid weekend for the Hunger Games. Not much more else to say here except good job. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was The Boy and the Heron, opening with $12 million this weekend domestically and adds to a worldwide total of $87 million, as it has already been released in many international countries. So last week, I expected this movie to crack the top 5, but I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I just didn't see a lot of buzz from the general audience or a big marketing push for this movie, so I thought maybe it would be like at least third, but clearly I was wrong. There was certainly a lot more interest in this movie than I was expecting there to be. This is definitely a big win for Studio Ghibli, certainly another win for Japan. 2 Japanese films in the top 5 domestic charts. That is crazy. And also, I think this is a first. I don't recall there ever being box office charts that had 2 Japanese films in the top 5. If there was, someone can inform me in the comments down below. But this is still definitely groundbreaking for international films, especially American audiences are becoming more appealed by these foreign international films, which is great to see. You know, some more neat little surprises added into the top 5 for sure, but also some different movies that you wouldn't expect to be in the top 5 appearing here, which is really impressive. But yes, The Boy and the Heron specifically, this is definitely another win for the medium of animation. It's the 4th time this year an animated film opened at number 1. The previous times were Paw Patrol, Spider-Verse, and of course Super Mario Brothers, so already a big win right there. And not only that, but this is an animated film geared towards a much more mature audience. Not saying it's like rated R by any means, but like given that this is something more adult oriented, something like maybe teenagers and young adults could get into. The fact that this was not only able to have a pretty successful opening, but also crack the #1 spot is rather impressive to see. It did get an A- cinema score rating, which, given this isn't the traditional animated film you would expect to see in theaters, again, mature audience, I think this is pretty solid. It will be interesting to see how it legs out, if it can pull off what Godzilla Minus One is doing and have, very solid hold, or if this is rather front loaded and drops like a rock in the coming weeks. Because again, a lot of movies coming out soon, so definitely something to keep an eye out for this movie on that aspect. But yeah, overall, The Boy and the Heron had a very solid, surprising opening. I am very impressed to see this movie have as strong of an opening domestically as it did. So yeah, props to you, Hayao Miyazaki. Props to Studio Ghibli. You had a very solid opening this weekend. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have one new major wide release, that film being Wonka. This is the origin story of the world's famous chocolate maker. Now, folks, let's be real. This is such a weird idea premise for a feature-length film. The origin story of Willy Wonka, folks. But I think that's what's intriguing a lot of people. The fact that this is such a weird, bizarre premise to make into a holiday family musical. And I think that's really tapped into a lot of people's curiosity. A lot of people are strangely curious about this movie, and as a result, there's been a lot of buzz about it. Some people are very intrigued and even excited to see this movie because the trailers weren't too bad. It promises a pretty whimsical, charming family musical. The marketing has also been pretty solid. I've been seeing a lot of promos and stuff for this movie recently, and apparently the movie is actually really good. I don't typically bring up like reviews or reactions anymore because I don't think it has too much of an effect on box office. But if there was any movie this year that really needed to rely on good reviews, it was definitely this one. So yeah, I think we're going to see a very solid opening here. Nothing like in the top 10 biggest openings by any means, but I definitely think we're going to see something pretty solid here. And if audiences do really, really like this movie, and I mean really like this movie, then I think this is probably going to be the big holiday movie to end the year off on a strong note. Nothing like an Avatar or a Spider-Man No Way Home, but certainly something like Jumanji The Next Level or something like that to really end the year strong here if the audience really likes it. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.